Hey guys, my name is Megan Kimberly Smith, and thank you so much for tuning in to Mixed in America. We are so excited to introduce you to our next spotlight, Dominica Greene. So Dominica, tell us where we are and why.
We're at Give Me Dance Studios, the downtown location. We are here because this is a rental space. If you wanted to have open rehearsal or class, this is also like the main place for contemporary concert dancers to take open class in the city. This is my favorite place to take class, so I thought it would be fitting that we came and met here.
Nice. Well, thank you.
Oh my gosh, am I supposed to be talking to you? How am I looking at
No, that's right. That's right.
Oh, okay.
That's all good. Do it. I mean, now we can talk.
Okay.
Now we can talk. We're glad we got that out of the way. So I'm going to be mirroring you, but it's not going to look the same as when you do it. So you're going to run me through a warm-up. So whatever you do to get yourself in the zone for auditions or whatever. So Dominica is a dancer, so we're going to jump right into her world.
I just want to say that this is a guided improvised warm-up, so we wouldn't want to look the same anyway.
Oh,
it's just about sensation.
Yeah. Woo! Okay, and I'm going to ask you questions throughout. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So lay on your back. Just already being conscious of the way that your bones are folding. If you can just release your legs long and your arms wide. Close your eyes. So right away connect to hearing your breath, feeling your breath, feeling your ribs rise and lower. Noticing where your body is touching the floor and where it's not touching the floor. See if on your next inhale, take a big breath, and as you release it, let your muscles let go as much as possible. Just letting go of any tension. Noticing the back of your neck, your armpits, behind your ears, the space in between your hips, the space in between each of your vertebrae. And in noticing these things, you can allow your body to react slightly, not making anything happen intentionally. Just noticing what it feels like to try to create more space in your bones. See if maybe your arms are becoming wider, your legs are moving further down. Let your stomach just fall into the floor, holding on to nothing, not even your face. Slowly just bring some movement into your fingers and your toes. Not even the ball of your hand or your whole foot yet, just your fingers and your toes. And see how just in moving your fingers and your toes, there's sensation in other places of your body. I feel my chest releasing. I feel it in my pelvis a little bit. And allow your fingers and toes to become a little bit thicker. naturally it moves into your whole hand and your whole foot. Articulation in your wrist and your ankles. And all the while feeling your head falling into the floor, not lifting your neck at all. And see if you can find a stretch behind your knees and behind your elbows. Feeling like this stretch is pulling you in multiple directions at once. So now let your arms become involved in maybe your calves. You can just rub these areas along the floor. Maybe finding a morning stretch. But feeling how if you just listen, there's so much sensation to be had just from this. All the while, you're warming up your body. You can let this movement move into your legs and your hips and the tops of your arms. Not forgetting about your toes. Finding stretches. If it pulls you to one side of your body, that's okay. It's not that important, but also everything feels good, so don't pass through the good stuff. If your head is lifting off the floor, noticing the air behind your neck, and just bring some movement into your hips. Feeling juicy hips, juicy pelvis. Wide stomach. And if you want, you can bring touch to this. Good. Moving your head along the floor, like brushing it, as if you want to paint the floor with your skull. And finding movement under your chest, under the bones of your chest. Allow yourself to just roll onto one side. Yeah, just let the movement go for a second. Feel how it's still running through you. The memory. And slowly just bring small movements back. Just wiggling your arms and your legs. Find a little bit of push and pull in your arms. Exactly, yeah, like pushing into your joints to push you up and then down. Using that for stretch. Without trying or finding positions maybe you haven't touched before. Move on to the other side. Just feeling your weight fall into the floor. Noticing your rib cage moving up and down. As if you have honey under your skin. So your movement is thick. There's your bone, there's honey, and then there's skin. When you're ready, just bring yourself to hands and knees. Finding a long energy out of your pelvis and the top of your head. You're going to and away from at the same time. Without moving, there's always constant movement anyway. And just find some movement in your spine, however feels good. Thick movement. Not forgetting about any of your body parts exactly. Don't forget about your feet. Or the backs of your eyes. See if you haven't opened your eyes yet, if you can, and still maintaining the same amount of sensation. Like there's waves running through your skin. Just find, back at your center. And connect to your third eye, down your nose, down your face, down your neck, down your stomach, your belly button, your midline, and your back space. We often don't even remember that it's there. Just take a few deep breaths here. Try not to hold any tension in your hip flexors. And then slowly just lift your right arm straight in front of you. Good. Yeah, see if nothing else can change. And down. Left arm. Feeling the back of the neck. And your shoulder. And arm down. Now just lift your right arm, bend at your elbow, and open your chest. Right now, finding a straight line from top arm to bottom arm. And then let it go and just find a stretch. Good. Other arm. Oh, yeah. So my hand wasn't even under my shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
Feeling the energy leave my fingertips, but also sending the energy down into my right arm into the floor, and then letting it go. Noticing how your head reacts to your shoulder. Let it go. Okay. Good. Just find some movement here. Doesn't matter how low you can go, but sending your abs to the ceiling and your head to the floor, but the rest of your body out, thinking energetically, moving in, just stay where you are, just thinking energetically that you can be going this way and that way, and this way and that way, without changing anything. It's just your mindset. And then bend your knees and just work your way up, rolling yourself up. When you come to center, to warm up, just like finding a shake. And from my pelvis, so yeah, like pelvis, stomach region, as opposed to shake, like feeling maybe the fold in that area, or a bounce. It just helps to generate heat. So even if, yeah, exactly, even if you can just find a bounce up and down, yeah. Trying never to have completely flat feet on the floor. Yeah, exactly. Good, and you can let that go, and let's just walk through this space. Bringing attention to our focus. So the way that we're noticing the space around us, are we seeing it? Are we seeing through it? Are we even looking at it? Is our focus into ourselves or projecting out? Either is okay. Just being aware of that. Yeah, and finding movement while you're walking through this space to notice the way that you're stepping, the articulation of your feet and your toes. And see if occasionally you can find just a bend at the front of the ankle. A nice little bounce. Good. Yeah. Up and down. Good. And listen close. And last, let's just bring our attention to our hands. This is something that I'm working a lot on lately. Like, I notice I get really excited about the things that I'm doing, and I think that I'm touching this space, and I look, and my hands are like actually not feeling anything. I'm telling myself, I'm like, oh, I'm really feeling it, I'm doing it, but it just looks really elementary actually. So something I've been thinking of is the honey that we talked about, like dipping my hands into honey. Just the idea of that already just turns the rest of your body on, and then pulling them out, and like, oh, it would not be easy to pull your hands out of honey, and noticing if you're holding in your shoulders or behind your knees when you're doing it. Yeah, so now there's just honey all over my hands. I do have a tendency to like cut off a lot of things. Just starting with that idea in the hands eventually affects the rest of your body as little or as much as you'd like. Raise your arms. This is something interesting too, like touching the ceiling. I just like to think about like how much effort I'm putting in and how much unnecessary effort I might be putting in, or unnecessary muscle tension. Like I'm already so naturally muscular that I'm like, oh yeah, but it's like calm down. And then just like really reach, and if you're really reaching for something, you're reaching in both directions.
Oh, yeah.
And then just sort of
I hold so much tension in my shoulders.
Me too. It's the worst. So yeah, that's like a modified.
That was incredible. I have got to say, like, sometimes I can really get in my head because I have my own acting warm-up, but there is something about, like, the language that you use that because sometimes during an acting warm-up, like, I'll over-emote or something because I know what the end result is, right? I know that I'm gearing up my body because I have to do this thing, especially if it's for a role. It's like, okay, I gotta drop tears later. You know what I mean? So I'm I'm really gunning it, but with that, there's something about, like, I feel so in my body right now. I feel like I could go do a play or do whatever, but it's like this, it's like calm.
Yeah, I think that like it just changes your approach to the world and the universe.
Yeah.
And it helps me just to center myself and help me get on the path of preparing myself for anything.
Yeah. So is this what you do? Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like, how much do you, because you dance so much, how much do you need to like stretch your whole body and do like actual, like the logistics? Like, do you have to do your splits once before you go and do an audition, or is like this enough for you to like go and, you know, do a show or do an audition or?
Well, that was, I don't know, probably like 20 minutes or something.
Yeah.
In general, I would have like an hour and a half to 2 hours would be ideal. Like an hour to just like lay on the floor and feel that. And then it does get more heightened into like full body movement.
Yeah.
I like to incorporate stretching into what I'm doing as opposed to like making that a separate thing. In a lot of ways you work that into what you're doing. So like if you're doing just a regular développé or something, feeling those stretches and all those, or on the floor, like we're on the floor.
Yeah.
Eventually, we would have come up or something, and so
you're bringing it into the movement.
Yeah.
Wow, I mean, that's gotta be part of the reason why, like, contemporary dancers, at least the good ones, like you, and I've seen you dance so much, it's like, it doesn't feel like, it's not like I can't catch a move. Everything is fluid with contemporary dance. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm noticing how you might prepare for that, because even when I would take dance in school, I feel like I would cut everything up.
Yeah, I have the tendency to do that as well. Like, you think that you're fulfilling something. And I think I'm fulfilling something a lot of times, and I feel that's the issue. I don't like to really watch myself.
Wow.
Like,
okay.
But recently I've been using that as a tool, like setting judgment aside, body shaming aside, like watching myself and being like, these are things to think about the next time you're working. So I don't remember why that came up. So then when I'm watching myself, I'm noticing that I think I'm fulfilling in the movement, and usually I am, but it reads differently on video, which is why, like seeing dance live, dance is so sacred because you really do only see it live, and in that moment you can feel that performer's emotion, and it's just as powerful, whereas like it really reads differently on video. I'm noticing in just working on myself, but I'm sure that's the same.
It really, it's funny to hear you say that. It is totally the same, especially with theater. I mean, film and television is a whole other beast, but with theater, I've had shows that I was like, that was my heart. I can't wait to see that. And then I watch it and I'm like, that's not how it felt, it felt electric, but it's like there's something, it is sacred. I've never heard it put that way, but I think that live dance, live theater is sacred because you have
so
to.
sacred. You'll never see it again.
Yeah.
No one will ever see it again.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love
that way, you know?
Yeah, yeah. That's why we got to keep it alive, because I think in the glamorization of commercial everything, commercial dance, I mean, you feel it as well. It's like, I don't want to lose what you get from these live performances with dance.
Yeah.
So hello everyone. I'm feeling really in my body now from that amazing warm up, and now I'll ask you some questions and get to know you a little bit better. Oh gosh. Well, I'm gonna get every mixed person's least favorite question out of the way. And I gotta preface with saying I'm asking you this in this way for so that the viewers have context. So, what are you?
My father is Guyanese,
Uh-huh.
and my mother is Italian descent. Italian descent.
Beautiful. And so that's what you are.
Yeah.
How do you identify? Which is the question I'm much more interested in.
I identify as a black woman.
Yeah.
Not as a. I don't say that I'm mixed.
Yeah.
It's clear that I am mixed with something, and that's not saying that I don't deny that I am mixed.
Yeah.
But in terms of how I walk through the world, I identify as a black woman purely.
Yeah, I was so interested when you sent that first email, and I think your perspective is so important, and a lot of people identify with that, and I think the way you're articulating it is great. When was like the first time you realized that that is how you are seen and how you walk through the world?
I started having to deal with that in college. College was really challenging in a lot of ways because of that. You know how it is being mixed. I grew up with a white mother and a Caribbean father. That's also important to note. My father is not African American. He's from the Caribbean, so that's also a different type of black.
Yes.
He's had a different experience. He grew up in Guyana, and then he came to America. So I wasn't really being raised by an African American father.
Right.
Which affected my experience, because this is a roundabout way to answer your question.
Yeah.
So growing up, I at first really mainly identified with white people. I felt most comfortable with white people because I from a young age I was told that I talked white. Because my father's Caribbean, they speak very proper English in Guyana. So I didn't know any of the slang. I had trouble getting the black people to take me seriously, basically. I didn't know what to say. I didn't really feel like I fit in. However, this is probably a middle school now. However, I didn't really fit in fully with the white folks either.
Right.
That's who I gravitated towards because they would more easily welcome me in. But I always knew I was an outsider and I never really felt understood.
Yeah.
Then I went to high school and I had some trouble adapting, but I went from a public junior high school to a public performing arts high school in Los Angeles.
Wow.
This was a different experience because I live like 30 minutes outside of Los Angeles, which is where I'm from. So I all new people, completely reinvented myself sort of, and I knew from my freshman year of high school that there were experiences I just couldn't relate to the experiences that the white girls my age were having. So my sophomore year, I got really close with a group of dancers. It was like 5 or 6 of us, all black girls, in the dance department, and this is where I learned. This is crazy. Like, it sounds so inappropriate to say, but like this is where I found my blackness. They accepted me. They knew that I was learning. They knew that I really didn't know much about, like, it's not how to be black. I just had a very different upbringing. I didn't really fit anywhere. But I knew I wanted to fit somewhere, and I wanted it to be with these women that I looked up to and admired, because we were 15 years old, and they were so proud of their blackness and so purely who they were, and I wanted to learn from that. So, but I never felt, still in high school, I never felt like I wasn't getting things that I deserved because I was black. I still very much had a lot of white friends, which I still do, but like there was no resentment until that point. Like through high school, there was no resentment for the white girls around me, for my white female friends.
Was there, and there wasn't any from your black female friends as well?
No, we were there. I don't think so. They once you get to know me, especially at that age, I was like 16, 17, 18.
Yeah.
I genuinely was so naive. I was learning every day.
Yeah.
You know, friends coming from downtown LA, friends coming from like Leimert Park area.
Yeah.
Inglewood, like very, very iconically black neighborhoods, and I'm coming from a suburb outside of the city. They just really welcomed me in and accepted me and knew that I was learning. Then I got to college, and you went to NCSA. There just weren't black people.
Yeah.
And I chose to go to college in North Carolina. It was a great dance program. By the end of my freshman year of college, I knew that something was going on, but I didn't know what or why. My freshman year, I met Lorenzo, and he said, like,
who is black?
Oh yeah,
He's both of our dear friends.
Yeah. A black. He was a junior drama major at that time, and it was one of my first few months. And he was like, "Hey Brandon, hey Andrew," like other black people at school. And I was like, and he was like, "Why didn't you say hey to them?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know them." And he was like, "Dom, like, you need to know all the black people at school." And I was like, why? Like, okay, I mean, I guess. I don't see why. He was like, you need to know them. Yeah. Like, those are your people.
Yeah.
And I hadn't really gotten there yet.
Oh, yeah.
But I knew that I was being perceived as different than the other girls in my class. People were looking at me funny for speaking my mind, and people asked my opinion. Women who had it was me and one other black girl in my class of my freshman year, probably like 30 dancers, maybe 25. So everyone else was a white female, and we're young. I noticed that the people that were getting attention were the tall, white, skinny women. I just knew, even from then, even just being a freshman in college, I knew that it wasn't fair, that it wasn't like right what was going on.
Yeah.
Also, so then, and then people were perceiving me as like this rebel in my class, like this rebel girl. She speaks her mind. She always has something to say. She's from LA. I felt that from people. And then, but you know me, I'm a very outgoing, excited person, but I didn't get welcome squad, which this is the end of my freshman year of college, where like I was like, I want to be a part of the community at this school, and I applied for welcome squad, and I didn't get it, but like two other very simple, not like, I think that I like have too much of a personality maybe. This is when I didn't get welcome spot, I was like, something really weird is going on at this school in terms of like what they favor and praise.
Yeah.
And by my sophomore year, I was like, oh, they praise average. They like at least in the dance department, I felt like people who could just do it and do it really well and really clean, they were being praised. But if you had Crystal and I, my other black sister in my class, like, we had to fight to get a good. We had to fight, like, to be seen. I felt like my whole college career was a fight to be recognized as being one of the best dancers at that school, which I was. But the mediocre dancers, I'm such a bitch.
No,
but like, I just felt like
you're
mediocrity
true.
was being praised.
Yeah.
White mediocrity.
Yeah.
And if you could do it and you were white, you could do it pretty well. But it's someone who has spunk and like a fire under her ass, like Crystal and I, like, I think maybe we were seen as problematic.
Problem children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then that started becoming how I identified. I was like, oh, I'm the rebel. Okay. I'm the bitch who speaks her mind. Okay. I can be that since you've already categorized me.
Yeah.
Since you put me in a box from day one, I can meet that. And then so to answer your question, college was when I realized, like, I'm a black woman. That's how I'm being seen. That's how I'm being treated purely. I'm not receiving any of the privileges that the other white women around me are receiving. So that's who I am. And that really but that is who I am. And that's who I want to be. And all the while saying that I received the privileges of being a light-skinned black woman. Someone who is mixed race or possibly racially ambiguous.
Right.
So, yeah.
Wow. That is so interesting. That's really interesting to hear. I'm thinking back to Lorenzo. As I'm hearing it seemed, and because I know him, and these things have happened to me as well. Like, I had a similar thing with the black people at school. They was really like, you know what I mean? It's like, some people didn't even know I was black yet, but they can see it.
Yeah.
You know, they know that they know their own.
Yeah.
So I felt a big claiming too.
Yeah.
And at first I had a similar, like, why are you doing this? Like, I can learn everybody on my own pace.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Stop making that the most interesting thing about me. I have a whole being. But what it is they know what you're about to be up against, and they're saying, we're here.
Yeah, and they become your family.
Yeah.
They were my family. I was held up by my black friends that are now my brothers and sisters to this day.
Yeah.
Because of our experiences at NCSA. Yeah. There's nothing like having to walk into your class every day with being one of the only colored people in the class, with a non-colored person at the front of the class. Having to be like, okay, I'm fighting, today's another fight.
Yeah, that is, wow, this is really healing for me hearing this, because I had a very similar thing where, like, in hindsight, I was dealing with a lot as a kid that was involving my race, but I didn't see it yet. But when I got to college, so much popped open. And it was the first time that I was like, oh my God. It's like people forced me to see that I was a person of color. It's not that I didn't know, okay, right? Like, it's not like I don't know who I am, but it's like, it was the first time I was forced to see it, because everybody else in my class, it was me, well, this is interesting. It was me and Andrew Manning who were holding it down, but originally there were two other black guys in my class that got cut.
After freshman year?
Oh, after freshman and then after sophomore. And like there were, you know, I'm not saying that this faculty didn't have whatever their reasons were, but it sure was saying something to everybody that like the only people getting cut in this program
Were the only people that were cut?
yeah, black folks. So, you know, it is what it is. But me and Andrew bonded so much being the people holding that down. And it really was the first time that I was like, oh, like some casting was weird for me too. Like so I would, you know, I'd be like, okay, I have all this, I'm the only person, like we did a Moliere and I was like, okay, well, I'm the only person that can like rightfully play the maid, I guess. It's not that I couldn't do that part, but I just thought it was interesting. You know what I mean? Like all these things that made my color relevant. Or when I did Guys and Dolls, I was like basically in whiteface. You know, I mean, you saw it. Would you have known I'm a mixed person with the way?
If I didn't know you, maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, bleach blonde wig. They powdered my face.
Why did you
white.
have to have blonde hair? Because
I was playing, I guess, an iconic role. So I guess that's what you do. And I didn't even think to question it.
right, I know it's crazy. I look back at some things too, and I'm like, I didn't even think twice about this.
The only thing that I questioned with that show wasn't even having to do with like ethnicity. Is like someone in the costume department was trying to stuff my body, stuff my hips. And I was like, oh, I'm not dealing with that. That is where I draw the line. I was like, I won't have my body stuffed to play this character.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like looking back, I'm like, I was totally in whiteface. I was like powdered up to be lighter, blonde, and it's not that I don't recognize that like a black woman wouldn't have gotten cast as Miss. Like a full black woman never would have had the opportunity that I had to play the part. And that part was very important to like the trajectory of my like professional career. I got like signed because of that role and all these things. But like looking back, it's like, whoa, there were a lot of things that went over my head, or you know what I mean?
How many years ago was that?
3.
Do you think that now a black person could play that role?
I certainly hope so, with like, you know, what we're seeing with like Oklahoma and how they're doing an all black cast of Oklahoma. Like I'm hoping that's going to start happening, and I know that Artists of Color is holding it down. That so that they're really raising awareness and saying like, we've got to break this open. And I was at the town hall meeting with the new dean of the school, and he was very frank about, we've got a lot of work to do and we're making the steps to do it. And it sounds promising, but you know, proof is in the pudding. We'll see. We will see what happens. But trying times in college, you know. Where do you where has race fit into your industry? Like, how is that affecting you right now, professionally?
Well, dance is so white. Dance is so white, and I was just working in Seattle. I came from working with a company where I was the only person of color in the room. And that's very common. And like usually the only minority.
Me too.
So that's what it's like.
Wow.
I took a class the other day and I was like, there are 15 women in here, there's 1 man, and there's like, out of the 15 women, 2 minorities. And dance is making an effort. Dance, like the dance community is making an effort to diversify things for sure. But there is a lot of work to do. But yeah, people are trying, which also makes me question why I'm in the room sometimes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You know?
Yeah, I feel the same all the time. And I don't want to assume that I know what you're saying, but what I'm saying is like so many people that know, have the, you know, privilege information to know that I'm half black and specifically what I am. I'm always wondering, like, is it my talent or is it that it's like very important that you have a person of color on the team? And is it that I'm lighter skinned, so I'm still not that taboo? And that you're with me checking a box and I'm still passing. I mean, you know, it's like people think we don't see it, but we see it more than we know it's happening. But I'm wondering that all the time.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, am I here? Are you checking a box because of me? Two birds, one stone.
Yeah.
Yes. So that is on my mind, but it's not really helpful.
Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, people are doing their best, but a lot of the iconic, like smaller people, individuals, choreographers who are woke, I guess, are doing their best. The big iconic companies that people still want to dance for, they're trying, but it's just, they have to try harder.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, how can we do better? What are your thoughts? The industry, how can the dance industry do better? Starts at the top, you know. What can the people on top do?
Not be racist. I mean, you know Sleep No More?
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I definitely know that I should have seen it by now.
There's like, that is a huge cast. And I get it. It's about Macbeth, that time period. But there are probably 2 or 3 black people in that cast right now. And if they cast black people, they cast them for specific roles.
Oh.
It's 2018. The more diverse your cast is, the more interesting. I mean, this is New York. Like that really, it's a white woman who runs that show. This is a show I want to be in also.
Oh yes. Shout out, this is the beginning.
Yeah, this is a show that I like the work. I want to do the work, but it's racist. Like in casting, this is a white English woman who's casting this, and basically it just feels like a lot of people are casting what they're attracted to, which happens.
Of course.
But then, you know, a lot of people are attracted to themselves. So that's what ends up happening. So yeah, I just don't be racist.
How do people diversify without the box checking mentality?
I know. I think the thing is that like we are all just as good as one another. Like it's not like actually the dancers of color are just as good, if not better and more interesting. I'm not saying so that's not the problem. The problem is that people aren't even aware of the fact that they're gravitating towards the same thing over and over and over and over again. So if people could just look at the room in front of them, and also I do think that it has to do with body type. People are also attracted to a specific body type. I have such body dysmorphia from being a dancer.
I have this on my list to talk to you about specifically, and I haven't talked to anyone else, but to me, I look at your body and I'm like, ugh, yes. But women of color have such a journey with their bodies. I mean, we see what's going on, the backlash and terrible things said about Serena Williams with her body, or with her beautiful bodysuit on in the dance world. We know what the image is, which is the tall, slender girl, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And tell me what your experience is.
Well, my experience at UNCSA was that I had to be as skinny as I could to look good and to be on stage. They literally, when they do your like semester
skin pinch
reports, they like say like body tone and all that stuff. The contemporary dance world is actually really cool about body types. You don't have to be sick. You can be healthy and natural, just in shape, you know? Mm-hmm. But these are my own problems from going to UNCSA primarily, but not just that, from seeing the women who are chosen for companies. Like, I specifically have a very challenging body type for dance, and it's really hard for me not to blame that on the reasons that I don't get things sometimes. And I just think like, fuck, if I were like skinnier and like if my legs were smaller, then I would look better, and I would, and like a white woman with curves is different than a black woman with curves a lot. But I love my black woman curves, but the shape of my body is different.
Yeah, can you explain that? What is different? Like, what do you mean by that? Being between a black woman with curves and a white woman with curves?
Well, this might also be my own projection. Like, I have plenty of my own problems with that, but I do think that like my thighs, the way that my thighs curve is different. You can look at me and see that I have black in me. Mm-hmm. The way that my arms, the muscles of my arms are shaped is a reflection of my blackness. Mm. And so that's just something I'm very self-conscious about. But in general, they want healthy dancers on stage, you know, which is amazing. Yeah. I feel pressure personally to be thin, to be thinner than I am, but in general, I don't think most people in the contemporary dance world feel that way, which is really great.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask the same thing. How can even the contemporary dance world do better at making? Because I hear you. When I listen to you, I can't help but feel like you feeling this way stemmed from the outside. It still stemmed from what has been seen as beautiful.
Yeah, for sure.
So how can we do better? What do we tell our girls? What do we, you know?
I mean, it would be nice to see more women like me on stage. Then I wouldn't feel like so taboo.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a recurring theme for you. This like, well, I'm in this box, so like, let me do what I can do to the best of my ability in this box, and you've owned who you are, and I think you're much past that, but I don't like that setup.
No, I refuse to be boxed in and categorized, which is why my time at NCSA was so much of me being like, oh yeah, well.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's what you think? Okay, I'll show you.
Yeah.
And watch, but, and then also people look at my body type and they categorize me. She's a firecracker. She's going to be the powerhouse. I can also be soft and delicate.
Yes, thank you.
I don't want to play the victim, so no, I won't. But I can be things other than fire, strength. I am strong and I am fiery, but I'm also gentle. Mm-hmm. And I wish that people could. I wish that someone, could look at me and see that. And I like to see strong women on stage be delicate and So yeah, that is a lot of what I, in the choices that I make and the things that I accept, you know, wanting to feel like I'm in a space where I can be seen as more than one thing. You know, I just got a review from the show in Seattle too. Like, it was an amazing review, but they were like, Dominica's like fierce muscularity propelled her like powerhouse performance, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, how about I was really dynamic, and I know I look different from everyone on the stage, and you really feel the need to point that out, but it's really hard. And I had a student come up to me, a student in maybe the drama program at Cornish or something, came up to me. This was a Black woman, and she says, "Oh, that was amazing. Like, you're amazing," because I have to take dance classes at school, and I have to wear like tights and stuff, and I feel really self-conscious about my big legs. But after seeing you perform, I feel a lot better about myself. So thank you. And I'm like, oh my God, like, you think that you're paying me a compliment, but you're not even thinking about how it might make me feel. And because I am of the belief that women should be holding each other up,
Yes.
I said, you know what? Good. I'm glad that I can make you feel that way. You should feel beautiful in your own skin. Your body is beautiful. You're sacred. She walked away, and I'm like, now I have to perform this how many more times in these underwear briefs that I'm wearing on stage, thinking how much bigger my legs are than everyone else on this stage.
Oh my God.
Not even thinking how that might, you know, she thinks she's paying me a compliment. I'm really glad that seeing my body on stage can uplift someone else. That's what we need. We need more bodies like that on stage to uplift people.
Yes.
But also just the language that we're using, like, this is changing the subject a little bit, but just like being conscious of the words that we're choosing when we're speaking to people about their bodies. You know, like someone whose body is their job. I just think that she could have been a little bit, she could have nuanced that a little bit more.
A little more tactful.
Yeah. But that's interesting. And yeah, like I'm just always, just body's a problem that I go in and out of. You know, sometimes I'm like, I'm just so beautiful the way that I am. You know, this is the body I've given, and I had such disordered thoughts leaving NCSA that I've really worked to a place of health, but it comes and goes, you know? Especially when the women that were being praised at NCSA were as skinny as you can be, the better. So then, you know, but I was like not healthy. But then I'm also questioning, you know, is that a part of the job? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think being unhealthy should be part of any job.
I know, but I refuse, but does it affect my career is my question.
Right. Well, and that's what I mean. Those are the things that must change, you know. And I think
that's true.
I think we have said that, and some people are listening and taking note, but we got a lot of work to do. But it's just, honestly, it's crazy to me to look at your body and see that you are going through, and I'm trying to be careful with my word. I'm trying to say, I look at your body and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, goals, I love, like, but like, it's unbelievable that you have been, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but from hearing it, conditioned to feel like there is something off. You know what I mean? Like growing up. Because when you have a goal, right? You want to dance on this kind of level, and all of these women look this way. That is not a flaw with you. That is a flaw in
the system.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course you're going to think that.
Yeah, for sure. That's absolutely right.
So they've got to change,
Yeah.
is what I'm saying.
I mean, that's part of my goal in being the next wave of dancers, you know, that are really on the come up now.
Yeah.
That's really important. I do agree. I rarely think about it that way. I think about having to change myself so I can fit, because I love it so much. I love it so much, but you're right. Like,
You'll dance
we
so
shouldn't
much,
have
right?
to, yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
But we shouldn't have to change ourselves. Yeah, that's true. And you know, in the beginning, I was taking ballet. Like in the beginning, I wanted to be like a ballet dancer, but I learned quickly that my body was not right for that. Yeah, but you know, I found my love.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just,
That's
I don't know. I mean, are there things about about acting that, like, you know, like you pick and choose your battles?
Oh yeah, you have me really thinking about, like, I am in the place just right now where I'm not changing to fit your role. You know, I mean, a huge reason that I'm making this platform is because, like, I obviously have to become a person in power, because I have to pave the way for other girls like me or going through anything similar, you know?
Yeah.
Because nobody's writing the role for the half black, half white girl with some Cuban in her, some Lebanese in her, that understands all these things and can, you know, is coming from all of nobody's writing that script for me. And the mixed roles that are being written for me, I'm too light-skinned apparently to play. Yeah, because the white people casting are saying,
She doesn't like mixed enough?
Yeah.
This shit is crazy.
so I can't. If I wait, I think I might be waiting forever. And I've had a lot of opportunities. I mean, agents, managers, people see me and they're like, hot ticket. Like, what are you? You've got what in you? Great. You speak good. Like, this is going to be great. And then, you know, I'm getting seen for everything. But I'm like a little too exotic for that role. I'm definitely not black enough for that role. Ooh, she kind of looks like she could be Latina, but if they find out that she's not full, like, we're gonna get in trouble. So it is like, I have to pave the way for myself and my own people, because it's not happening. Nobody knows how to have this conversation. The divide is too intense right now. People don't know how. People are just now kind of realizing that black people are oppressed. They don't know how to have a conversation about, like, levels of racism and oppression, discrimination. They don't know how to talk about all of those things, especially in the industry. So here we are.